All right, Caitlin, we are live. Thank you so much for taking out some time.
Thanks for having me, Mike.
Absolutely. So let's jump right in and tell me how you got involved with the film Roadkill. How did that come about?
I got involved with the film Roadkill actually because Warren, our amazing director, and his wife Stacy, um they reached out to my manager to get in touch with me about possibly reading the script and seeing my interest. And I love an unreliable narrator story, not to give too much away, but I was really drawn to it in that sense. I The film actually was filmed in the perfect time. I had a final the night before I left on a red eye to head to set, and Warren was so accommodating to let me take my final exam in person and then hop on a flight. So I had a 6 to 8 p.m. final, headed to the airport, landed in Panama
Wow.
City, and drove straight to set and worked the entire first day of the movie. So
Wow.
it all came about pretty quickly as well, but I think with such a fast-paced, intense story, having a short amount of time to really dive into the character, dive into the script, and work on it just helped amp up that intensity going into the shoot.
I can imagine. Your character deals with a lot of, let's say, past trauma. And how did you kind of prepare for that? I mean, I, you
I
know,
had a lot of creative development talks with Warren Fass, our director, who's amazing, as I previously mentioned, and just there's something so interesting about this movie, and it seems plot driven almost because of the intensity and the action, but it really is so nuanced within the characters. It's just kind of a twist that you don't really find out until later on how character driven the story actually is. But
sure.
I think it's really exemplary of how our past traumas and the things that happen to us shape who we are as a person, even if it's unconscious to us in a sense. So having those discussions with Warren about the driver, and I just love that the characters don't have an actual identifiable name other than the driver. I
Sure.
felt so cool being referenced as the driver all the time. But being able to have those creative discussions with Warren about this character who is so close to him and has been living inside his mind, in his heart forever was so valuable, especially as I mentioned, we only had a couple of months, I think, if that, before going into pre-production after I found out about the role. So being able to form such a close relationship with our director and have him guide me through that process of exploring her was extremely beneficial.
I was going to mention the name, the driver, and I was going to ask whose idea was it to not give her a name. I thought that that was really cool.
That was all Warren's brain right there. I can't take any credit for that, but I loved it too. It made me feel way cooler than I actually am.
That's awesome. So, the role itself is quite physical, and especially during like the fight scenes. Did you have any special training or anything like that?
I have grown up with this love of doing my own stunts when I work in
Cool.
films. And when I found out about this role and how much um, work there was going to be with shotguns and all of that, I was like, I need to be properly trained on this. Even
Sure.
before going into training, I need to do some pre-production for that one with
Sure.
myself. I actually worked with a stunt coordinator who I worked with on the series called Dwight in Shining Armor, and he was there on set with me for 3 incredible years and is literally like an adopted dad to me at this point.
That's
But
awesome.
he is so skilled at what he does. So as soon as I found out about this role, I picked up the phone and I called him and I was like, I've never held a gun before and I don't want to show up to set looking like I don't know what I'm doing. And I think Warren had a bit of a preconceived idea that because my family's from the South, I probably would have at some point shot a gun. And I was like,
Sure.
nope, I am a city girl at heart. I live in LA. We don't do that here. So, being able to have some training in LA and go out to a ranch in Malibu with just shooting blanks and getting comfortable with holding something like that so that I didn't have
Sure.
this fear of imminent danger on my face, just
Right.
holding the gun and get a bit more comfortable in such a controlled environment was really helpful. And then when we got onto set, there was no one better to help me than our amazing team of cameramen and Warren to guide me through that. And
That's
to feel confident
amazing.
doing that is really important with a role like the driver because
Yeah.
she acts before she thinks, is kind of how it seems, even though I'm trying not to give too much away, but you realize how calculated and strategic every move is. But
Sure.
there has to be that impulsive confidence when you watch her. That's how it needs to come across.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I definitely dig it. I mean, you would definitely, I would say the word badass for sure. So,
Thanks.
and how was it working with the Scream Queen, Danielle Harris? That was pretty cool seeing her.
She that scream, dude, like she
I
is
know it, right?
iconic for a reason. And she's also so lovely, so incredible to work with. She was our amazing waitress, made us some delicious sandwiches. But we had a blast working together on set, and just being able to have her in the movie was really a standout.
I love it. That's so cool. And listen, I mean, I have a feeling that when I watched this movie, that the first thing I thought about was franchise. I could definitely see another one coming. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it's not my place to write the future of our characters' endings or to pry into that, but I definitely, from a viewer standpoint, when I watch the movie, there's some plot holes left undiscussed, and there's a bit of leaving it open for a sequel. So I think it would be really interesting to explore the future of these characters who we don't know who makes it out alive. It's a
Oh,
really fun little open ending that leaves it open to everyone's interpretation, but
oh,
also there's a lot to be discovered about these characters' backstories too.
that's
The
awesome. Yeah.
young girl, Jalen, who played the young driver, was awesome in bringing that to life. So I think it could be really cool to explore the driver origin story, I guess.
Yeah. I love it. So, you've been acting since the age of 3, right? And
Yes.
you already have a very impressive resume that I've read. What do you enjoy most about what you do in this business?
I love that there's the opportunity to, as cheesy as it sounds, like seriously be whoever I want and live in
Sure.
so many individual shoes. It creates such a feeling of empathy with people outside of my own identity. And I feel like it has made me such a more well-rounded person growing up in this industry and being able to really try to comprehend walking in someone else's shoes from different backgrounds, cultures, socioeconomic groups. And that's a really powerful thing about acting. And there's so much potential to explore sides of yourself that one, you didn't even know existed, or career paths or personalities or experiences. It's just a really immersive experience, but I feel like it just opens your eyes to how people live outside of just being confined in your own bubble of perception.
Sure. No, that makes sense. That's really cool. Yeah, I mean, I definitely have what an impressive, a resume so far.
Thank
It's
you.
great. So, all right, last question I got is, what do you got planned for 2024? Anything you can give us a sneak about or anything like that?
First biggest thing planned for 2024 is Roadkill comes out the first week of January. Could not be more excited.
That's exciting.
I just finished my degree at UCLA. I walk
Wow.
in graduation in June, so I'm really excited about that. I have another feature film called Skill House that will be coming out next year. It's
Wow.
a This film, Roadkill, is, well, I guess they're both slashers in their own sense, but
Sure.
this has intensity, thrill, action, cars, stunts, and the other one is just downright confined horror gore at
Ooh,
its core.
I'm
So
down.
a little bit more blood and guts if you didn't think it was possible from Roadkill. But I love exploring the horror genre. It's my guilty pleasure. So lots more of that in 2024.
That's amazing. That's so exciting. Well, congrats on your degree because that's amazing
Thank
too.
you.
And I appreciate you taking out some time. Hopefully, we'll chat again soon one day. That'll be great.
Yeah, thanks so much, Mike. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Same to
Happy
you.
everything.
All right. Well, you have a good one. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Mike.